Hello designers, this is Rebecca and I'm going to show you how to set up your Victorian poster in Illustrator. So we're just going to open Illustrator and click on New File. This poster needs to be 11 by 24 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the print profile along the top of the new document window and then enter my units of measurements to inches. Then in the width, I'll type in 11, and in the height, I'll type in 24. We're going to have it be a portrait orientation. We only need one artboard. We don't need any bleeds for this one, but we do need to have some margins. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on Create, and we'll set up those margins inside Illustrator. Beautiful. So to set up margins in Illustrator, we can use our rulers by hitting Command R and then just grabbing with our selection tool and dragging our rulers down. Or we can make a rectangle and then turn that into guides. So I'm going to do that option here. I'm going to choose my rectangle tool and I'm going to hit Option and click so that it brings up my rectangle menu. Then if I know that I want to have a 1/4 inch all the way around for my margin, then since my artboard is 11 inches, I'm going to do 10.5 inches wide. And since it's 24 inches high, I'm going to have it be 23.5 inches so that I have a total of a 1/2 inch worth of margins, both vertically and horizontally. And then I'll hit OK. So I'm going to go ahead and use my selection tool, drag this over here, and align it center. I can use in the properties panel my alignment tools, and I can just choose align to artboard and then hit the vertical alignment and center alignment. Great. Now from there, I will change my fill to none, and I still have a black stroke there of 1 point, and I will go to view and turn this into guides by going down to guides and make guides. Beautiful. There it is. So I can lock this layer and then make a new layer by clicking on the create new layer icon at the bottom of the layers panel. And now everything I make will be separate from that guides layer. So now what I recommend, if you find an example of a Victorian poster that you like, just bring it on into Illustrator. So let's do that. It's probably not going to be the same dimensions, but we'll make it work. So go ahead and go to File, Place, and then find the folder that you like and find the file that you like. Great. So from there, we can just click and drag to place this, and I'm going to make it about the same height as my poster, and I can adjust it a little bit more. I'm going to bring it to the height of my margins, just approximately. This is just to give us an idea of sort of the fields we want to create, both for our text fields and our image fields. So I'm going to also align that to the artboard. I'm going to choose the horizontal align center. Great. Cool. So if I wanted to, I could turn this into a template. So let's do that. We will double click on that layer 2 and select the template option here. And by selecting template, it dims the image by 50% and locks it automatically. Then we'll make another layer. And from here, we can start laying out our text fields. So I will grab my type tool and I can just click and drag to make my where field. And it's going to give it some placeholder text, and we can crank that way up, and we can just even type in where and spell it right. And then I can grab it and just keep cranking it up till I get the height of it about where I need it to be to fill in that type field. Go, 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 go. Cool. And then it will help if you have your fonts chosen for this, but you don't have to by any means. I'm not going to thread any of these fields. The information does not need to be connected, From there, I can just put in another placeholder, and it's going to give it the same size text that I have right now. It's at 150 points. That may be too big, so I'm not going to see any of that placeholder text, but I'm going to type in just a couple X's to because this is a field that I'm not sure what I'm going to put there. These also might be centered because a lot of this text is centered. So we could, if we wanted to, select the text fields that we have already created, and in the paragraph section, choose Align Center. And then, oop, I made an extra one. Let me delete that. Okay. And I will go ahead and up the size of this font, or you can leave it, whatever you'd like to do, because since you don't know what you're putting there, the type of the size might vary. But what we'd like to really keep in mind is the leading and any place that we want to incorporate color, like this one here. So for this one, this would be my who, because it looks like it's the most important type there. We could automatically give it a bold if that's an option to let us know it's going to be really, it's going to stand out a lot. And we can also add our one of our colors from our color palette. So I'm going to crank this up. Do, 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 do. Keep going. Cranky crank. Great. And then I'm going to go ahead and place my illustration and just place it right over here. So I'm just using this as a template. You can keep going with laying out your different type fields, and then you can also go in before you bring in the type and add in any horizontal rules that you might want, any additional decorative elements or ornaments, and let me see if there's anything else that I think should be added at that point. No, that's good. So just make sure that you start with the who, what, when, where, and how much. And then then you can add extra little verbiage here and there to fill in all these tiny spots. Do not use placeholder text. So if you don't know what to put in those small areas, then omit them and instead use ornaments, use another illustration, whatever it is you'd like to do, or adjust the height of other fields to take over that space. So remember, we are never grabbing our font, our text fields, and stretching. We're not going to do that. And we're not going to stretch it horizontally either, because we do not want to distort the fonts ever. If you need to take up more space horizontally, then you adjust your tracking over here under the leading section. So you're just going to crank it wider, and if it's beyond that 200, just keep cranking, or type in 1,000, type in, oop, that's 100, type in whatever amount you'd like to stretch it all out. If you do something crazy like 3 letters stretched way out, then go ahead and put in a little ornament between the letters. Like, make it look super intentional. And it does not, the font on every single line or in every single text field does not need to touch the margin. So you can have some extra space on the left and right of your text, of your type field. Just make sure that most of it does stretch all the way from that left to that right margin, and don't extend past that margin. You can have larger margins as well. A ½ inch would look great at this scale. And you can also add a decorative border to add some more visual intrigue to your poster. The other thing I'd like to talk about is setting up a library. So if you click on the Libraries panel, if you don't see it, go to Windows, Libraries. And from there, since you've already created your logo, I'd like you to create a new library by clicking on here. And you can call it Victorian, whatever, or the name of your performer, whatever you'd like to call it. And then from there, click Create. Then go ahead and open up your logo file. So I'm opening my logo file up in Illustrator. And then from there, we can choose our different colors, our fonts, and any other imagery that we have, or the entire logo altogether. So I'm going to click on this top one here. Let me unlock everything first. Okay, I'll click on this. So I have the purple text selected, and then from there I can click on this little plus to add elements. It's going to ask, do I want to add the text fill color? Do I want to add the text itself, the character style, the paragraph style, or the whole thing as a graphic? So I'm going to click on Add All, and when you do that, it's going to show me the font color, the artwork itself, the character style, the paragraph style and the text as just the text itself, which is pretty cool. So then I'm going to do the same thing with the green font. I will add all. So I have that, looks great. Then if I want to, I can select the image of the woman and add it as a graphic. And there she is. I can select the whole thing. I don't want these guides, so let me turn off those guides. There we go. And I'll select the whole thing as long as everything is not locked. I can group it, Command G to group, and then from there, add it as a graphic. And there it is right there. So there's my logo. I'll go ahead and close this. I'm not going to save my changes. And now I can add my logo easily into my poster by just clicking and dragging it over. And I can drop it wherever I'd like and resize it. I can also then change my font fill colors to the colors that are in my library very easily. So that's really nice. And there you go. Let me turn off this template so you don't have to see it. And I can turn off my guide there. So that's a good start. From there, I'm going to go through and pick out my beautiful fonts that are Gothic or fat face or grotesque, any kind of Victorian font. I'm only going to choose one decorative font. So you can have one decorative font in addition to your logo. So, you know, it could get pretty visually exciting with that many decorative fonts, depending on how decorative your logo is, but that's okay for this assignment. All right, thank you so much for watching.